Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching, always encouraging your self-reliance. If you'll develop a marketable skill, chase that skill with a solid work ethic, always go the extra mile, develop some people and communication skills. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish in this country. Big thank you to almost 600 people that have subscribed to this channel, Playing It Forward Coaching on YouTube. If you haven't already, please do so. I'd super appreciate it. And I'm welcoming today a neat young lady, just getting to know her a little bit, don't know her real well yet, Kenidy Kubitz, and she's going to tell us as far as her work a little bit, as well as her coaching field hockey at Northeastern High School. So welcome, Kenidy, and share with us, please.
Great. Thanks for having me, Tim. Thanks for the introduction. As Tim mentioned, my name is Kenidy Kubitz. Outside of coaching, I work for a company in the packaging industry. So I get to work with a lot of different unique customers throughout blue collar work, working on internal protective packaging. So anything from craft paper to void fill, we kind of get to help customers better solution solve their protective packaging and pretty much how to get a box from one point to the other without damages, and just kind of working on the lean system. So it's really great opportunity, keeps me going, get to, like I said, I cover a large territory. It's a good job. It's a good job. It's a good industry. And I'm very happy being able to kind of help people on those skills. So yeah, it's good. So thanks for having me, Tim.
Sure. Now, what's the name of the company, Kenidy?
I work for a company called Pregis.
Okay, very good. And where are their headquarters?
They're headquartered in Chicago. I'm the account manager for the Pennsylvania and Maryland market. So we have a national presence. There's a team of 5 of us in the Northeast, and we cover all the way from Boston down to Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia area. So that's kind of our large territory that I support.
Sure. Well, super. Yeah. Now, another one of your passions, obviously, is field hockey. I know you were an excellent player, when you were in school and everything. Now you're coaching at the Northeastern Field Hockey girls there. So tell us a little bit about that and how that's worked out for you.
So I have been playing field hockey myself since I've been in about 2nd and 3rd grade. I come from an area where field hockey is a very dominated sport in the female sport world. I am not from York County. I actually played field hockey at York College, and my now husband and I bought a house in Manchester during COVID. So 2020, September, my field hockey adult leagues that I was a part of got canceled. I had reached out to the athletic director at Northeastern to just kind of try and stay involved, had offered to be a practice player if it was something they were interested in. One thing led to another, and before you know it, I was coaching middle school. Recently there's been some change in leadership through the field hockey program at the high school, and that's given me the opportunity to now take over as the high school head coach. So field hockey is something I'm passionate about, but I also understand the importance of, youth development, both in student athletes, but specifically in females. So I don't have kids right now, so I kind of like to think that these girls are kind of my children, and I just want to see them grow and succeed as well. And it's been a good opportunity. I like to watch them develop, and anything I can kind of do to support them on those journey is kind of where my role takes place.
Sure. Well, we've got a great athletic director, with Brian Stevens. I've had the privilege to work with him pretty close for the last several years with the guys and girls tennis. And, you can't get a better AD than him, that's for sure. So, yeah. So tell us a little bit about, some of the kids you have, what some of the experiences you've had as far as, I know you're just kind of getting started. It was your first full year as far as kind of taking over the reins this past fall. Was that correct?
Correct. We have a relatively small team. Typically field hockey teams, you like to see about 25, 26 girls. That kind of gives you a really good solid base for both junior high or JV and varsity. One thing that's been identified that Brian and I have kind of talked in depth on many different occasions is the lack of feeder programs that we have specifically for field hockey in the community. So that is something that I'm working with, like our youth organizations, as well as some of the coaches that surround us, to try and kind of start to grow and develop that, so that there's a little bit more growth and opportunity for girls starting out in 5th and 6th grade rather than coming to me in 9th grade and trying to kind of teach from scratch. And, I know that's a big push internally for myself, just because, it is a very competitive sport, and I want to make sure that these girls are getting all the opportunities they can. This year, full transparency, we didn't have the best record, but from where we started to where we ended, there was so much progress and positive growth through a lot of my players on the team, those that have been playing from seniors to just even our freshmen. The biggest thing that I am starting to look to do with my girls, there's two things. One is just implement structure, but the second thing is trying to, like I said, I want to grow these girls into young women, strong young women, but also just solid student athletes. And that means taking on the responsibility of communicating with parents and kind of owning that what they put in is what they're going to get out. And that's something that I feel some of these girls lack, but not because it's something, no fault of them, rather just it's part of growing. And that's kind of where I like to push them. So it's been a good it's a good challenge for me, but I'm definitely challenging those girls to kind of, own it. And that's part of it. And they've been doing a really great job with that.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Now you said you got started as young as second grade, so obviously they had a pretty good feeder program. I think are you out of Berks County? Do I have that right?
I am. Yep, I am indeed.
Yeah. And what school did you go to up there? High school?
I went to Oley Valley.
Okay.
Yep.
And how did it happen that all the way down to second grade up where you were? How did that work out, or how did that get started for you?
So our high school, the high school that I went to, did a really great job of incorporating, the youth. So we have a youth league program, kind of like how we have NISA, but it's all under one umbrella. So pretty much it's just as simple as they would sign up for teams, and then parents would actually volunteer to be coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They would go through some demonstrations with some of the high school players, as well as just the support from the high school's coaching staff to ensure that everyone knew the rules. There was kind of a president that would run that program, but they have a solid 10 to 12 teams of, third through seventh grade, broken up by age group. They would have practice 2 days a week. And then there was always 3 tournaments that the community, both Oley Valley, as well as some of our neighboring schools, would participate in. So they would, it had become very competitive. It's evident based on both Lancaster County and Berks County, just field hockey is a little bit more of a dominant force down those ways. And there's, the staples and the means to do that, which is just a learning curve, right? There's a lot of coaches in the York County area that are stepping into some of these leadership roles within the field hockey community that are trying to change the way York County does things. But, that takes time too. So I am trying to do my part in that area, and that kind of starts locally just with our own school district.
Sure. Do you have a particular favorite memory of, your first season as far as the Northeastern kids? Because I know a lot of those girls they're wonderful. That's for sure.
I have a very unique group of girls. They all come with their own personalities. My favorite memory absolutely has to be first day of preseason. So as I mentioned, things were different this year, and they took everything I said with a grain of salt, and they were troopers about it. I threw a preseason schedule at them back in March and said, this is how your season's going to look. What questions do you have? And, that started as new as having 2-a-days, having a preseason, having run tests. So my favorite memory to them, it might not be that enjoyable, but we started at 6 a.m. Monday morning for preseason in the pouring rain, and they had their first fitness test. And although that sounds kind of crazy, they did the best they could, and they set the bar really high, especially knowing that they did not know what to expect. Did they meet the times that I had originally kind of expected? No, but they were positive, and it was the first experience that they worked as one unit to get their entire team across the line for those conditioning runs. And I think that says a lot about their character and the leadership that they already had in place to kind of work as one unit and one team. And, they killed it. They really did. And that sets the bar very high for what I was given as a group of girls to kind of work with this season. And they did that, set the standard then throughout their entire, their entire season on everything they did, both physical as well as just leadership and team building as well.
you know, and I always like to ask this question too, as far as what are some of the life lessons that you hope that they will integrate within themselves, you know, with the benefit of being involved as far as field hockey is concerned? Because the life lessons really, as far as sport, most of the kids or most people aren't going to make, you know, the very top echelons, Olympics or whatever, or even a high level of college. So the life lessons in my mind are the most important. What
Mhm.
life lessons do you see your kids making there as we kind of start to wrap this up here a little?
I think accountability is a big one. I don't think it's always talked about the most, but time management, accountability, I think all sports can teach that
Mhm.
if student athletes want to learn that. But just making sure that they are owning what they're doing, whether it's on or off the field. If they make a mistake or they do something wrong and they know they're in the wrong, just raising their hand, hey, it was me. You know, things like that, I think build character, and they go, you know, a long way, especially then when you get into the workforce or into college where, you know, just being honest and transparent and just owning, you know, hey, I'm accountable for this or this is expected of me. I think that really shapes somebody's character. And then absolutely time management. And I know, you know, you guys see it on your side of things too, but not taking on too much and giving 100% for what you do take on is just really important. Time management, especially getting into college athletics as well as into the workforce. You know, I think sports does a really good job of teaching that
Mhm.
too. So those would be the two things that I think sports are really great. I like to think my field hockey girls are learning very quickly how to take accountability and how to use time management in a positive setting.
No, very well said, Kennedy, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, Kennedy, this has been wonderful. I appreciate it. Can you hang for a minute or two when we get finished here?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Tim. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
thank you. I'm trying to get as many of the sports teams as possible, and if hit most of them, there's a couple that are a little camera shy, but you're not. You're very well spoken, and you know, you have a great presence there as far as your presentation. So I
Great.
appreciate
Thank
it
you.
very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Yep.